All right. Is the lady done talking?
Yes, she
Okay.
is.
All right,
The lady you never
everybody,
hear.
welcome to part 2 of our episode on psychics, mediums, and sensitives. Oh my! All right, so we are back again, and we have a lovely guest with us today. We have Sarah, and Sarah has some abilities, and we're going to discuss, how she, came to realize she had these abilities and how it works for her, and so on and so forth. So, welcome, Sarah.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's just start off right off the bat. Everyone's going to want to know, how did this come to you and how did you, come into your abilities?
I guess I think I've always done it, but I had no idea that I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 years ago, my Nana passed away, and I was really close with her. And after she passed away, I started to realize that, I don't know, I just knew she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell that she was talking to me, but I didn't really know what was going on. But during that time, I really started to change the way that I saw the world and thought about things. And then as I slowly started to understand, I guess, that I could know things without knowing how I could. Eventually, I called a psychic, and I had never done that before, but I always was interested. And she's like, "Oh, so you realize that they're talking to you?" And I was like, "Okay, so going on."
Can I ask, did you see someone in your area?
Yeah, a lady that is around this area. Yeah, she's been around for a really long time.
You remember her name?
Yeah, I totally remember her name. Ann Willen.
I've never heard of her. That's surprising.
No, I haven't either.
No, that's surprising.
She just she doesn't have a big thing. She has her small group of people, and she's just really, I don't know, I just like her. But yeah. She's done a few readings for me over the years.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just kind of enjoy her. She's an interesting lady. But yeah, she was the first one who kind of told me. And as she was saying these things, I was like, okay. And then as I talked to people that knew me, they're like, well, Sarah, you always know things you shouldn't know. And I don't know really how I know it. So I started I was kind of my own biggest doubter about it. I was like, this I can't be, it took me probably 3 years before I was like, okay. And then I was I think I was really nervous to lean into it. I didn't really know what that meant. And was I willing to be always having things talking to me or whatever? I wasn't sure about that, I guess. And then as time goes on, you can always feel them there, and you know that they know you can understand them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
it makes sense to me. Yeah, even though I don't have any abilities, that I'm the dud of the group, as everyone calls me, or as I call myself. But yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. I've over the years have talked with a lot of people who have abilities that always doubt themselves, and they won't say something that they're getting to them because they don't want to seem weird or that it's wrong or something. So we've kind of encouraged people over the years to just be like, if it comes to you, just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it. We had just this past weekend, last weekend, we were at Ameliasburg, and we were doing a public event, and one of the groups, there was a 16-year-old boy and his mom, and he was, I guess, a psychic medium. I'm not quite sure exactly how they were labeling. He was labeling himself, but he would get these impressions and he would tell his mom, and then his mom would tell us. He wouldn't use his own voice because he was so afraid to say anything out loud. So yeah, completely understand.
It takes a long time to have the confidence to just say it. The more you do that, the more people resonate with it, the more you're like, oh, okay, that was important. Sometimes it means nothing to me, but I say it, and then they're like, oh my gosh, that.
Yeah, we were just discussing that.
We were. So Sarah, are you like medium, you talk more to spirits, or are you sort of on the psychic level where any information comes to you? Are you both? Where would you fall on the spectrum? I don't know what to say, what to call it. Not the spectrum, but like the ability spectrum.
I think the best way that I understand, it's like I'm a channel for an energy and I get that kind of information. That's my main ability. That's where I just sometimes know things.
Yeah.
I don't know how I know it. I just know it, and I know it to be true. And most of the time it's true, or on some level
Yeah.
close, you know? And then the more times that happens, you become more open to receiving that information. The more you trust it, the more you get. So yeah, like claircognizance is just to know and to not know how. And it's to know without arrogance, and to also know that it's not my own thought.
Yeah.
Just know it, but it's not a knowledge that I learned or
Mm-hmm.
stored in this lived lifetime. It's coming from something that's not myself.
Absolutely. I know something I've always questioned is, am I just thinking this, or is this actually like a spirit talking, or is this energy coming through? Like, how do I know that it's not my brain thinking this is something else? And to sometimes I don't know how to explain the difference, but you just know the difference. You just know when it's information that you, like you said, channeling versus your brain imagining something. And I don't know how to say the difference between the two. And I think it's probably different for everyone, but
Yeah, there's a
I
couple
get what you're
ways
saying.
you can. So they're making me laugh. There's tells when you're receiving channeled information. For me, I'm looking straight up to this direction, or I'm looking straight down in another direction. If it's a thought coming from me, I'm looking at you and I'm speaking to you. But sometimes if you're talking to me and then you say something and I'm attracted here, then I know I'm receiving something. And you'll have your own personal tells. Those are something I've noticed for myself, that while you're talking, all of a sudden I find myself, I'm like, okay, I'm getting. And then I don't think about it. I just say it. It's not a
Right.
thought. I didn't think, well, you were talking, I'm going to say this. I open my mouth and I trust what comes out is the exact thing I was supposed to say. I don't think about it. My understanding is I'm to say it the way I perceive it. I'm not to make it my
Yeah.
own. It's speak what comes out. It doesn't have to make sense to me. It doesn't have to.
Absolutely.
Even explain what it means. That's what it is, and the person understands it, and it's for them, or maybe it's
Yes.
for them in this moment. It might be for them 6 months from now, and they're but mediumship is separate of that.
I think that's a lot of a big misunderstanding, is like when people get readings or they get messages, is that they think it's for the right here, the right now, and they don't realize it could be something from the past or the future, right? Like they want to validate it so fast, right? So yeah.
I think it's about helping other people to understand too what's a validation when they hear it versus like what's a want when you hear
Yep. Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you hit on something, you didn't quite say exactly what we're saying, but you said right along the same lines, is when you have an ego in this sort of field and the ego is stronger, the ability goes down. It like
Yeah.
squashes it. You have to be completely open, like you said. That channel has to be just free to come out, and
Yeah.
not you like, oh, I'm so great and everyone's coming to me. Because as soon as that happens, that whatever it is that's coming to you is like, and they get out of here.
Because
So
it's nothing about, no one's tuning in to listen to what I think or watch me.
right.
They're tuning in to hear what they
Exactly. And I love that you said you can't put your own spin on it. You got to say it the way you say it. Because for me, that was a lesson I had to learn. And I don't know, but sometimes when I'm getting a message, I'll be like, what the fuck are you trying to say? But you have to say it the way they say it because it will resonate with the person the way it's supposed to. And if you're like, well, I'm seeing this thing, but I'm gonna make it my thing and say it, they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But if I was like, seahorse, Eskimo, cabbage patch, they'll be like, ah, like, and yeah, if I had to be like, okay, so I'm thinking, like, yeah. So I like that. I like it
No,
already.
there's a difference between there's a difference between true like channeling of an energy. Like when someone asks you a question, you connect to that energy right there, and you can give them the information. It's not about seeking it. You get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And you understand the message or you don't. And maybe
Yeah.
you say it or you don't, but sometimes it comes out in another way later. I don't know. I find I always end up saying the thing I'm supposed to say.
And especially if you think that, like, if you're connecting with spirit, that was a person, and that person had their own personality and would have said and did things a certain way to make them. So if you're trying to make it your own, you're totally removing that person's essence, their spirit. So then they could be like waka waka, but if you change that and you're like they're laughing, it won't have the same meaning as if you
Yeah.
said waka waka. So I get it.
I'm sorry. I'm worried my kitten is going to jump onto my shoulder. She's
Oh
decided
no,
to go
we saw
wild.
her in the background a minute ago and I was like, there's
And my dog is like, hey, I want to go outside now. No, she's going to wait.
Oh.
Or Jake can let her in. But
She just
here.
she's turning 7 months old tomorrow, so she's just a little baby, but she like decided this is the moment to go insane. Usually she like eats her dinner and has a nap, like, but because I'm doing something, she's like, oh my gosh.
Of course. She's
Kitty.
all riled up.
Like,
It never changes.
she's a cutie.
So earlier you said they're making me laugh. Who's making you laugh?
Just anyone that's talking to me. So as you guys are talking, everybody brings people with them. So
Yeah.
they all stand there and kind of pop things into my mind. And I know they're not my usual people because I know how the frequency, everything's frequency. I know the frequency of the energy I connect with. So then when you come in with your frequencies, they're different than mine. And then I can tell the people around you, talk to the people around me, and then they all know kind of who's listening. And sometimes I find the energy is funny. Like I can't really explain it, but there's something about it that makes me laugh. Like I think I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, it's kind of if they all just sort of bombard me with information about different maybe messages they've been trying to give you that you miss, and they're like, okay, here's our opportunity. Like,
oh, I missed them all. I'm not lying. I missed them all.
shoot them over to her. Shoot them over to her.
Do you have, and I know people want to know this, do you have like an off switch? So if you walk into a party full of people, can you go, all right, this is going to be too much. I'm going to just dim the lights now so that it doesn't bombard me. Or are you like, well, I'm in trouble now because it's a free for all.
Most of the time I can be like, yeah, that's fine. And you can kind of just be like, not today. Like, especially if I'm going something that's like for myself. Like I went to the outdoor pool spas, with my mom for Christmas. And I was like, today, like nobody's talking to me, like nothing today. Like I just want to sit in the hot tubs and enjoy my time with my mom and relax. Like nobody, and then it's nothing. And you get to just, you're as open as you want to be. Really? Like you're always in control of any amount of energy that you receive. The idea that you can't just turn your energy off and say like I'm good for right now.
Right.
But sometimes things are overwhelming and there's could be a lot going on and you're like, okay, there's too many people. That's enough. But yeah, sometimes it's like I definitely get overwhelmed if you're in a big crowd, especially if people are like if you go to sports games and stuff. There's so much energy.
Yeah.
Hard not to absorb it. If people are really excited, like it's like the energy is so like you're so excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it works both ways for, you know, some things that's nice to be overwhelmed by that kind of excitement energy, but
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to you for, say, a reading, how do you open? So let's say I'm like, I'm here for my reading, sir. How would you be like, okay, Kaz's, I don't know, energies, who's coming through? Is that how you do it, or?
no, it's a conversation, kind of just like exactly what we're doing right now.
Mhm.
This is
Right.
basically me giving both of you a reading. I always joke and I say I don't say things for no reason, and I don't tell a story or share something about myself if it's not going to resonate in some way with the person I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So I've shared something about one of my abilities that maybe you doubt about yourself, or you share and you've wondered about, to validate or to help you to accept or move forward in your faith in yourself and what you do. Right. So kind of like everything is a part of it. The whole conversation, from just chit chatting about like our pets. And I always say, like, once I come on the screen, like the whole thing is the reading. And I don't, I say, I give it a time limit, but I don't really. With, excuse me. I'm fine with that. It's like, it's just done when it's done. If it takes an hour and a half, if it takes 2 hours, if it takes a bit more than that, like, I finished the reading. It's not about getting paid for a certain amount of time. It's about giving you the information that you asked me for. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to say, well, it's an hour and a half, and if you want the rest.
Right.
And for that,
more.
that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine, but that's just not how it works for me. That our whole conversation will be the reading, and there'll be something in there that resonates with you in our just basic conversation. Sometimes people tell me something they're struggling with, and I listen, and if something important that I know I'm supposed to say, otherwise I just hold space for them to share that. Sometimes people just need to say something and feel heard and validated that someone cared.
Yeah.
And I do care, right? It's not an act I'm putting on. I'm genuinely there to hold space and to care about that. I went through a lot of things by myself. So to be able to hold space for somebody and be able to understand, and if I can offer something that they need to know, great. But it's not about telling anybody what to do, or, you know, sometimes people ask me specific things, like someone wanted to know if they should go on this vacation. And she was not sure that it was the right thing to do. And I was like, if you get an opportunity to go on a vacation, like, just, I'm telling you, go on a vacation. And she went, she ended up meeting this guy, and then they've been together for a while. They live together. They're like, you know, and
nice.
like, I went on, we had that conversation, and then she's like, the next day I saw the trip, I booked it, like, and then I met this man. And so sometimes you just say the thing to that person. I didn't tell her what to do, but I was like, if it feels right, like, go on the trip. If she didn't go on the trip, that's okay. Something different would come along for her, right? But I felt the energy of that opportunity, and I gave it to her. And sometimes cool things happen. So I never really promise anybody anything. It's a lot more about, sorry, my kitten, a lot more about just, holding space and validating that somebody feels heard. And sometimes people want to know about their abilities, same as what you guys are asking me questions. Like, sometimes I feel this way. Like, some people just want to be validated in that too, that, like, okay, I believe her, and I believe that she can do it. And so why can't I believe that I can do it?
Right.
I'm validating for you that, you can do that. And then, so it's that resonance within, right? Which is a really cool part of, I always think, like, sometimes people don't pick up anything while we talk, but they'll message me a couple days later, a week later, or a month later, be like, oh, that thing you said. And sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes or sometimes they didn't make the choices that took them down that path to that energy. Too.
Absolutely.
And Kaz and I were discussing that earlier too. It's like, you can go get a reading from a psychic or medium, and they could predict your future and tell you everything, but you could walk out of the door and 2 feet kick a rock and it goes left instead of right, and everything's changed, right? So, yeah.
For sure. There's certain things that's meant for you that
Mhm.
you have to get. It's just for you. And no matter whether you take the left or the right, all paths lead home to that thing because it's for you, no
Mhm.
matter what. There's certain things we can't turn the wrong way about. It's just going to be on whatever path that you're on because it's just for you. I think having, I don't know if I like to call it gifts or abilities, but just to be able to do this kind of thing is part of that, right?
Mhm.
And I think that
Absolutely.
it's really interesting if you can step your own self aside and just to allow yourself to trust what you hear and feel and know. Claircognizance, like everybody thinks if you're psychic, you should be able to hear people's voices speaking to you. Or I think the claircognizance to just know
Yeah.
it's totally different. And a lot of people have not thought it was a great gift because it couldn't be, you couldn't say, well, I heard them say, or
Exactly.
I just feel it. Sometimes I feel their feelings. I feel that something is funny. I feel that something is sad. I feel like something has a lot of empathy coming from them. And sometimes I feel proud of people when I'm like, I shouldn't feel that way. I pick up on those kind of feelings. It's about trusting when you feel that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's someone's, grandmother around them. They're making you feel proud. And because that's how they feel and they want you to share that message. And sometimes it's as much as being like, I feel really proud of you right now, but in a way that like someone who really loves you would feel proud of you. Because sometimes
Right.
you don't know who it is. You can just feel that that person really loves them and is proud of them. So it's trusting in those kind of messages you get too, because a lot of it is really in your body and learning like what's your feelings and what does your body feel like versus how they're making you feel.
Mhm.
Right. Absolutely. And have you done any work with paranormal investigators? Have you gone to places and investigated like supposedly haunted locations?
No, I've never done anything like that before.
Would
The
you
closest I came
would you
was
like to though?
bombarding live that day.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And
I
then you're
was just
like,
like,
there's something in there with you. I'm like,
I
oh,
was just sitting there and I picked up my phone for no reason. And I don't even I was just all of a sudden like in your live and I was like, oh. And then I could just
That's really
I could just feel there was a little boy and I could feel he wanted me to he was just drawing me to that attention. Yeah, and that energy sat with me for a bit and then he just kind of went away and I was like, okay,
That's
all
so
right.
great. So for those of you tuning in, a couple weeks back when we were at Wildwood Sanitarium in New York, in Salamanca, New York, Kaz and I and the rest of the Paranormal Seekers, well, almost the rest, we did a live video and Sarah ended up tuning in and was kind of picking up on Tommy, I'm going to assume. Oh no, it wasn't Tommy. It was another kid. And all of that in Wildwood. So it was really interesting to see and to
yeah.
kind of go off of, especially for a location that has basic history, because all of the files and everything all went up in flames. So they have no history of anything else.
Yeah, I didn't even know where you were. I was literally just like watching TV and I just mindlessly and then I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, okay, yeah. I thought about it for a minute but sometimes I can't not say something. There's times when I can ignore it and I'm like, no, I'm not saying anything. And then there's times when I'm like, if I don't say it, I'm going to friggin' explode. It was one of those moments. It was like, just, you have to say it. And I was like, okay, I'll say it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that building is shrouded in a lot of mystery. They know some things. They don't know everything. But yeah, there's a lot of mystery to the building, and it just more and more of it comes out every time some team investigates. So it's kind of really interesting to see how you were able to kind of connect to some of the energies that were there and kind of bring them forward. And I don't know, maybe we'll see for round 4.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, prepare to sleep in a like dusty
really,
old bed.
Sorry. I've always thought that was really interesting to do a paranormal investigation, but I've never done one, but definitely I think it would be kind of fun. I've never sort of put out that kind of effort to be like, okay, and really open up to just talk. A lot of the things that are in buildings like that are just energy loops, not necessarily actual spirits, but people connect with that energy loop while they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's why there's like Tommy, and then they're different energies.
Mhm.
And some are spirit, yeah, and some are not. And you get to kind of know the difference too. And the more that you tune into how they feel, you realize which one is actually you're communicating with versus which one is just appearing in the loop when people come.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are usually like the legend ghosts that everybody knows about, that everybody sees. That's more of like a time loop. That's what I'm kind of understanding about it.
Like Ghost Road in Port Perry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been there lots of times.
I think
I still have not been there. No, I'm
What?
like, where the? And I live, I don't know,
you
probably
live
down the street from there.
Oh,
Yeah, the energy
okay,
there
we're
is
going.
really interesting.
We're going. There's more than just some motorcycle rider there. We're going.
All right.
Dog fur everywhere.
Lilia.
But yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's so interesting.
Well, I guess we'll ask the question I was going to ask. Do you have any messages for us? Not to put you on the spot, but we're putting you on the spot.
Oh my gosh.
There's a woman that's been wanting to talk to me. She keeps showing me in like this white, I don't know, I want to say like 70s style dress. She's very pretty. It's like she was older when she passed away, but she shows herself to me like young like that. I think she might be someone's grandmother or. It takes me longer to understand spirits because they talk to me in weird ways that it's like decoding a puzzle and you taking all pieces and putting them together and being like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
And
I understand. Don't know how it works, but I understand.
Yes.
Right.
Sometimes it's like hieroglyphics and you're like, what?
How do these go together? And then finally you put it together. Sometimes I show obscure things. It's like, I don't know. She kept showing me that 70s style dress.
Perfect timing.
Oh, that was amazing.
Gotta love
that
cats.
was a cat for everyone who's just listening. That was not the spirit. Or maybe it was.
Right. Hi, this is Freya.
Oh, hi Freya.
Thank you for helping. Okay.
Just had to give you a little break.
Yeah.
Did somebody lose something recently?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Did anybody lose something recently? Been looking for something?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She's showing me like looking. She's looking for something, trying to find. It's like something is lost.
Well, I know my other half, him and his older sister are looking for their possible bank accounts and stocks from their dad who passed 5 years ago. But that's pretty much all I can think of for me. I look for stuff every day because I forget where
I know. I
all
was
the
like,
time.
does this include me walking into a room and being like, what the hell am I doing in here?
I think it's about finding the paperwork that you're looking for.
Okay. I'll let him know. I'll stay out of it.
It's like that idea, like that the right person has it. If that makes sense.
I sure hope so. That's a mess right now. I stay out of it. Right out of it.
Yeah, that's the easiest. Yeah, the right person has it. That's the easiest way to say that.
Okay.
I feel like mediumship is a little bit more difficult on the spot.
Mhm.
Because it's like sometimes they want to talk to you, and then sometimes they all stand around, and I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about.
Like it's like when you're in like grade school and the teacher calls on you to answer a question or calls on the class to answer a question, nobody raises their hand.
I think for me, like I said, a lot of it's about the conversation. It's kind of, I would call myself like a conversational medium. And it comes out more in the questions that you ask than the openness of, do you have a
Oh, Kaz has something.
Because I was going to say, ask the question, Rachel. Ask the question.
Oh my gosh. Now you're putting me on the spot. Oh my Lord. Okay. I'll ask you a question. So, what was it? 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago? We went and investigated a location in the Greater Toronto area. Can't really say where it is. We're kind of confidentiality, sworn to secrecy. But it is a old estate. It's a house. It is owned by a very large nonprofit organization. It is surrounded by trees and hills, and it was owned by a doctor. Now, the doctor was very, I don't know how you would say, I wouldn't say, I don't know if it was obsessed or possessive of the blonde in the group.
It was both. It was both.
Which was me at the time. I'm the only blonde, but we could never figure out why. My question is the why.
Mm-hmm. And he has made an appearance many times since.
So is the question what makes him like interested in the fact that like interested towards someone who's blonde, like that he's drawn towards you?
Yeah, if it was
Rachel.
It was me.
Why does he want Rachel?
Specifically you.
He's my guy now, but you know, back then it's still confusing as to why.
Sometimes there are certain messages that are for you to give. And so it's almost like that spirit can't give the message to anybody but you. So then every time that you're around, it'll be very drawn to you because you're the person that's supposed, like you can read the energy of the story or the thing you're supposed to say. That's why a lot of it's in the questions that people ask, because that's in the energy of the thing you want to know. Otherwise, there's just, you're hanging there. I'm trying to grasp at an energy that might answer a thought that you're having.
Yeah.
But something that they can give you information about. Right? It's like you can ask your grandma to come and help you, but if you don't tell her what you want help about,
then
she's standing there like me being like, okay, well, which thing?
What do you need?
What thing do you want? Like, okay, I'm here. How can, like, what thing? A lot of people don't like to ask questions. They just want me to know things. And sometimes I do. And sometimes I don't. I've had people put me on the spot where then I've had something come right out, but other people put me on the spot where it's like I just asked me the question and then more comes out.
So the reason like I'm asking, and I think everybody on the team and Kaz as well, is because ever since that investigation, this particular doctor has been everywhere with us, including when we were in the States, because he came through in Hinsdale, like very clear.
Both places. Places.
Very clear. And the first time it almost sounded like in Hinsdale, like if you don't know the story behind Hinsdale, it's kind of like it's an infamous haunted farmhouse. The house had an exorcism. It was more of a blessing. Because the family that was there was experiencing some not so nice activity, and it kind of continues today. Whether or not that is still related to the house or what people have brought in, which we're pretty sure is the latter, it almost was like as if he was telling everybody he was protecting me from God knows what. So, yeah.
He's definitely, you've connected to each other's energy. So once you've connected energy like that with a spirit and you've sort of had that mind meld moment with them, then you're connected to their energy. So they'll be around because they'll always try to talk to you about something until you,
Huh.
you know,
So you gotta tell him either to
understand.
get lost or what does he want?
I don't said all the time, what does he want? I don't get no answer.
You do. You're not listening.
Probably.
We'll
Or
have to
I'm
do
just
an
not listening.
Estes, and
I think,
yeah, like when we do an Estes and let him talk through you,
We
and
could do
maybe
it
he'll
anywhere
say
at this point.
exactly.
well, I mean, for him, it's he finds you interesting and he knows that you can like hear him or feel him around, right? So he likes that. So that's why he follows you around. They like, not everybody it can hear them or acknowledges that they can do that, right? So once you acknowledge it, and then they like that because like, oh my goodness, I can say
I know where this stems from. So we were the first paranormal team to investigate that building. And I did extensive research into former owners and their families and learned all about them. So I could use the information to, validate what was going on or validate who was there. So that's starting to make a lot more sense now.
Yeah, so you were on the same frequency of those storylines, right? And then now you can connect to those energies, and then they'll follow you around to talk to you. Some of them like they kind of
Womp womp.
not everybody's tied to like locations.
Mm-hmm.
They just that's where they're choosing to, for whatever reason, be. They're not tied. Most aren't tied there, so some of them are just doing whatever. He's just doing whatever. So he likes to visit you and go places with you because you're interesting. You're doing
Great.
and other people around you are also sensitive, but then will start to also pick up on, and then you'll be able to validate each other's information. I thought that too. I felt that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's about all getting on the frequency, right? And maybe he's something important to tell you, or maybe he just likes hanging around.
It likes being the ninth member of the team.
I guess so.
It's
The
something
invisible
interesting
member.
to do, right? Like, I don't know. They all have their whatever reason for doing the things that they do. And he just.
Yeah, there was a lot of theories being thrown around. One was that he was obsessed with me because I was blonde. One was I was his wife reincarnated.
I don't think he's bad at all. I don't
know. I don't think he was either. I just think he just latched on and he didn't want to let me go.
He just likes you. You can feel him. You can exchange that energy, and then that's fun for him, so he likes
I'm okay with it. It's okay. You know what? If he's gonna protect me from whatever because he likes me, I'm okay with it.
I don't really think that there's ever anything that you need to be protected from. I think that's the more that you feed an energy that you need protection from something is the only time that anything's going to bother you. The idea that you need protection from anything, you're stronger than anything you're going to come about. The lie is that they're stronger than you. It's like, I always think about this really old episode of the Simpsons Halloween of Horrors when they had the big signs that were like smashing.
Oh yes,
the city up, and all Anka comes on and he wheels out the piano. He's like, "Don't watch the monsters, just don't look, just don't look." And like I think about that, like just don't look. Just don't look. I can't, if you don't pay attention to it, if you don't give it that energy, like you can acknowledge that something is there. With being like that doesn't have any power over me. Anyways, and you guys are all
just said that in our last thing about, I was like, curses only exist if you believe they do. You give them energy,
nothing.
They will.
And we're all sovereign beings. The lie is that you're not, right? So nothing has power over you. Nothing. That's so as long as you trust and believe that, then you can understand that you're protected. And then we all have the beings around us that protect us, right? And you never know who's with who. Oh, and these things like ghosts and stuff, they're low level spirits. That's why I like it's easier for me to channel, because it's a different frequency
Mhm.
energy and it flows smoother. When I have to come down to a frequency that's different to me, it's lower than that, it's slower than that, I find it hard to know what's going on. So it's really just about understanding that you actually vibrate at that higher frequency. Both of you are able to channel energies, right? So there's nothing in any of those places that can harm you.
See, I said that all along.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you vibrate way above that.
Oh, cool.
Well, I think the woman might have been my grandmother that you were channeling earlier. She made dresses, and I actually have some of her dresses from the 70s that she made.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I was kind of like, come through today. So it may well be her.
Yeah, she would really want to emphasize the dress. I really saw her as like a 70s, like very kind of glamorous lady. She had on the nice dress. It was that like high waist with kind of that like, V-neck with like the ruffles. If I saw a picture, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's that lady. I couldn't tell you what their face looked like, but if you were to line up photos of different women, I could be like, that's
right. Definitely. And she died when she was like 96 or something. But to me, she was always this young, energetic person.
Yeah.
She's always been like, we have pictures of her 80s doing like crazy yoga poses. Like she was always just way younger. I know, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
even, I mean, I know towards the end of her life she was getting frail, but I always envisioned her as this young, spry person.
Yeah.
So it
So
makes
that makes
sense that,
sense for me in that
yeah.
way. And I understood that she died. Like she was that she said I was very old when I died, but that's how she wanted to look, was young. And it kind of reminded me, my Nana was very much the same. She never, like she always looked very young and was very spry. And I used to think that my Nana looked like Blanche from Golden Girls, because they were very, I thought, I
Yeah.
was really little, I thought she was Blanche. And my Nana was always really flattered by that, and she was, very much like that. And so it was the same kind of, that's why I said grandmother, because like sometimes it's like, what did it remind me of? That she reminded me of my grandmother and how she was. She was very fancy, and she would have liked to look glamorous when she came through, kind of thing. So it's trying to decode that and being like, okay, well, is it a grandmother? Because it makes me feel like my grandmother. And then what's your grandmother now telling me or trying to tell me? And then sometimes it takes something from you of saying, oh, my grandmother was like this. And then I can better then connect to that energy again and bring forward more of what she's trying to tell me, or put the pieces together.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
It's got really quiet in my house.
I know. I'm like,
me too. The cat stopped. I was like,
just random quietness.
that was crazy. Everything went still there for a second.
Yeah. The sun is setting. That's probably why.
Yeah. I was just like,
settling down. So
I'm watching this weird little bug. It was on the wall, and now it's come down. It's on the floor, crawling towards me. I'm like, ooh.
Oh,
If I suddenly like dive out of the frame, that's
if you pull a bat gate, move.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not Ryan. I won't leave you girls. Defend for yourselves.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Now, is there any place, Sarah, that you would really like to go to read, like a museum or like place anywhere in the world that you think that you would want to go to, like read the energies and read what's going on?
I don't know if I've ever really thought about it, to be honest, like a specific place. Like I just enjoy in general going to old places. Like I went to look at this apartment in this little wee town, and it was inside like the first building that was built in that town in like the 1800s. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh, there's so many people in here. And it's so interesting, right? And then, you know, there was a lady that was kind of like a maid, and she was just like following me around, you know, and it was just, yeah, you feel like all these eyes on you, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of people. So I always just find it interesting because you never know where you're going to walk into. That's like that. I used to go to this place here in town that was haunted, and there was so many ghosts in there, and they would open and close like a barn latch door all the time. They'd swing lights, like all these different things would happen all the time. And so it's really interesting to be in really old places like that where a lot of oh, she's stuck in my hair, a lot of spirits will hang out. So yeah, I don't know if I just find it interesting really to go anywhere because you just never know what's going to come up. I don't know a ton of local paranormal history, if I'm being honest. I feel like growing up, there wasn't shows about Canadian paranormal things. It was like you can learn about all kinds of paranormal places in the States. I feel like I've watched every psychic show possible about those kind of places. Yeah. But other than like local things like Ghost Road or different places around town for sure. But
yeah, growing up, we just had, was it Haunted Canada? That's all we had with Terry Boyle.
Like, yeah, and there was like nothing like great on there. Like I there was no idea about anything around here.
We did have at one point a group called the Girly Ghost Hunters, and they traveled. I don't even know if they traveled Canada or just Ontario in a Winnebago, and their mascot was a garden gnome. Listen, I have a garden gnome if you want a mascot. Yeah, literally, they called him Nomi, but that's literally all we had. And nobody in this area, and like even haunted walks didn't even exist.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that kind of stuff. So
there was nothing. Now, like I know things in the States always existed, but they weren't as popular as they obviously are now because of television shows and things like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and all that. But we didn't really have much back then.
No, so yeah, I don't know a lot about like a lot of Canadian stories.
No.
So yeah, I would be interested to go just about anywhere to check it out. Like I've been to Kingston Penitentiary, which was also a really interesting place.
That's a fun place. She hasn't hasn't been either. Guess what? We're going this summer. We'll go this summer. We'll go this summer because I've been there. I don't even know how many times now, like 6, 7 times. It's different every time. The one time I had an Ovilus device in my purse and it turned on by itself.
Oh my goodness.
And then I got grabbed in segregation, but you know, whatever.
Do you ever have paranormal stuff like that happen like around your house? Like just people doing stuff? No?
I don't notice it. Well, I shouldn't say I don't. Some stuff has happened and it doesn't even faze me. I don't know. I just like, my other half will be like, oh, I heard this and I heard that. And I'll be like, I hear nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know, so like, I don't know.
I do sometimes, like when my other half goes on a business trip or he's just generally away, they are all over the place. And it's like they hide when he's here. So as soon as he leaves, I'm like, can you guys shut up? I'm trying to go to sleep. It's ridiculous. And then the only other time is we came back. The first time we went to Hinsdale, I don't know what came back with me, but someone was shuffling around my house. And I caught it, like I videotaped and got the audio of them cruising around my kitchen and crashing into stuff.
Wow, that's
great.
Then,
funnily enough, Allison, one of the team members, she also had, we called them the shuffler because it sounded, you could hear them like shuffling around. And she also had someone. It stayed longer at her house. It didn't stay that long at mine.
Really? Yeah. Just get attracted or attached and then go about their way. Goodness, but
I had nothing. I came home and nothing.
I've had like one time there was it was like around Christmas time and we had a few people into the house, and that night I was in my bed and I heard this like loud bang and crash of something glass, and my cats are really old at the time and they were all like asleep on the bed, so like I knew it wasn't a cat, but I was really tired, so I didn't bother to get up to investigate. But I was like, whoever is out there, like, don't touch my stuff. And then the next day when I went out, it was like someone had hit the candle holders like across the room.
Oh wow.
And I was like, whoever did this, like, you're not welcome in my house. Like, no, like, you're never allowed to like touch any of my things or do these kinds of things in my house. Like, you're not welcome.
Yeah.
To come into this house. And once you tell them they're not welcome, they're not welcome.
No. That's true. They have to abide by it as far as I was told. But it's like, even like for me here, like I can turn on the Ovilus and it won't say a darn thing in my house. Not a word. One time it said hi. That was it.
Sometimes they're just hanging around. Sometimes they just want you to know that they're here. They don't always have messages. Sometimes it's just about being like, there's a man and he's always around you all the time. He might not have a specific message. He just wants you to know. Maybe you've been asking, are you here with me? Are you ever, and he's just saying yes to me. And sometimes that's all the messages, is that I see this person. There's a man here and he looks like this. And it's kind of like someone telling me what they look like. He's wearing a brown coat and, but I don't actually see them. So I'm sort of describing what I know them to look like. And so it's interesting how they can come through in different ways, and how that you're receptive to receive it and then trust whatever weird thing they tell you.
Yes.
I'm used to the weird things.
No, I think you guys have a team full of people with a lot of really interesting abilities. And I think there's always a reason that people come together in a group, right? And everybody has something that they bring to the table that is different than something that somebody else doesn't have. And I think that's really cool about how groups of people can find each other, right? It's like those little puzzle pieces, and you guys are kind of finding those sort of pieces that fit in as the story of what you guys are doing unfolds and you investigate things.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And as you all learn to like understand what your strengths are too, you'll be able to pick up so much more in the things that you investigate.
And that's true, because Ryan started off as he was a skeptical believer. Like he's a former police officer. So there's facts and there's facts. That's it. There's nothing else, right? Like it's either right or wrong. It's either true or false, right? Like there's nothing in between.
Very logical.
Yeah. And he's experiencing a lot more stuff now that he's come out with us a lot more.
Yeah.
Stories for everywhere now. Don't worry, you'll hear
God.
Sarah. Don't you worry.
Yes.
Skeptic always is the person that like there's something happened to them when they were a kid that they probably scared them, or someone told them wasn't real, and it's like they're blocked from that memory. So they know it's true because they have that memory of it being true, but if they say it's true, then they have to accept that this thing that they were told didn't happened, and that this is like a thing, Oh yeah. I think that's the one thing that stops a lot of people from like opening up their gifts, is just finding that sort of part of you that is like, but if I let this out and just kind of like, even if you just slowly turn the valve and let it like through,
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more stuff will come to you. And like, yeah, I always find the biggest skeptics, it's like you know the truth, you just don't want to admit it. So sometimes they come at you hard with stuff. So you really like, I was definitely my own biggest skeptic. And the more skeptical I was, the more unexplainable things happened in my house, the more, messages I got, the more I was right about things. Like you get to a point where you can't deny it anymore. And like to continue deny it is delusional in itself, right? So it's about just really accepting who you are and what you can do. And I love seeing skeptical people like when the switch flips and they're like, okay.
Listen, I've watched Ryan run out of more places than I've seen anybody else run out of. He's a cop. He's supposed to run to danger. No, he runs away from it.
Yeah. But even when we do public investigations and we get, the husband and wife duel and the wife's all into it, the husband's like, this is bullshit. And the end of the night, he's like, oh, God, this was amazing. Like, because something happened and he was just like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah. It's great. I like that. But you're right. We were just talking about the team, and right now we have this great team. We have people that have different abilities, and there's no ego. There's no like one-upmanship. It's just like if Allison comes in hard one day and it's all one that's getting it all, we're all behind it. If Kathy has it, if Rachel's getting the doctor coming through, no one's like, but I want a doctor and I don't understand.
Yeah.
None of us, we just appreciate each other and we trust each other, which is, key. So when someone says they feel something or hear it, we know it's true and we believe it. And it's a good dynamic we have.
Yeah. And that's what makes it successful, right? It's the faith and trust in each other and each other's abilities. And you have to be really humble about it. And because it just is. It just is that way. You today, you're the person who picks up everything. It just is. You're the person that connected to the energy that day. That's just maybe sometimes multiple people do, maybe sometimes just one person. It just is. And if you can all be on that page and support each other, then you're going to get so much more information because there's less resistance.
Right. For sure.
And that's what'll set you apart from other people doing it, is because you'll get information. And it's more about trusting what you pick up at the house more so even than what you read, because not all of the information is in what you can investigate within, the material world, right? So it's about also trusting in their deeper story and what they're saying. And kind of what I said earlier about the energy loops and understanding that some of those are just loops and not actual people that are visiting there and interacting with you. And so connecting with those people as well, you'll be able to tell their stories of the history of that too. So it's about bringing forward information that nobody knows about. And it doesn't matter if it can't be validated or checked by anybody. Like that's what you received. And bring it out however that you want. And people believe it or they don't. And other people can pick up on the energy or they don't.
Yeah.
Well, that happened to us in Hinsdale the first time because there's this false story of these two brothers that went on a murder spree or some weird thing.
Yeah.
And Rachel, through her research, found out that was all bullshit. And when we connected to those two brothers, they thanked us, more so Rachel, for saying those things, that we were saying that story was not true. They were like, thank you, because this rumor got started and, it tarnished those two brothers and it wasn't a true story. But anyone that believes the fables of a place and goes into a place and is like, oh, this happened without, like you said, reading the actual energy there, then you get caught up in like the lies or the fairy tales of the place. And so it was really cool when those brothers came through and was like, thank you for abolishing those lies and setting the story straight.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys tried doing it backwards where you go to the location first and not know anything and then investigate everything you picked up on?
I can't. I have to. I'm the only one that researches. So I'm the only one that has really any knowledge of what is going on, like who the people are. So when I research, I'm not just researching what happened at the location. I'm actually just researching who these people were in life, like who they were married to, how many kids they had, how did they die, anything about their life that would be something that they would bring up that would identify them if they were to come through. So if something does come through where like they say a name or they give a date or they give a number of children, like I can validate who that is for like when they're coming through. So they get their name back or their identity back, right? So they're not just like the apparition of the man, a trench coat, right?
So
that's what I do. We're not too into like finding out exactly like where people had experiences or what type of experiences. Like you could give us like the general, like, there's apparition scene, people hear footsteps, but you don't have to tell us where. Right. That's for us to find. Because sometimes we go to locations and they're like, oh, the first floor bedroom is like the most active. So like we will do our little walk around and we're like, no, we're actually going to go to the second floor because that seems to be where we're picking up more stuff. So that's where
Yeah.
so we let ourselves kind of decide once we're there. Because trust me, I went into this place in the GTA with a plan, and that plan just, as soon as I walked through the door,
Exactly.
it just didn't work. I've learned my lesson.
But I find, like, sorry, I was just gonna say, I find when we go to a place, typically Jay, Allison, and I don't want to know anything about it. We don't want to listen to it. But Rachel and Ryan will go with the whoever's, there, manager, caretaker, whatever, and go do the tour, and then come back with the knowledge of maybe what they've said about the place. And then that kind of helps when we're moving through the place. And Allison, Jay, or I are like, I feel something here, because then it validates. We have no idea what the story was, but if we're picking up on something, and then, Rachel or Ryan could be like, well, they said that this place, blah, blah, blah. But I think Rachel and Ryan need to know. They kind of like have that personality where they're like, I need to know the information first. Whereas I would rather it just speak to me when I get there. And again, because a lot of it could just be bullshit. And so I don't want to, if someone's like, well, someone died on the staircase. If I'm then on the staircase and feel something, I'm like, is this truly what I feel? Or is it my brain being like, well, they said someone died on the staircase.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just have the energy talk when I get there.
Yeah, I
And
prefer
then we'll know.
that way. So that way I like to know for myself that I can confirm what I'm getting because I didn't already know it. Like when I first started realizing I could sort of do this, I was like, I can't listen to what other people are saying, other people's channeled messages or what people are talking about. I need to just know that the information I'm bringing through is what I'm receiving. And then after putting out messages, seeing if other people that were putting out messages were saying similar things. And if I was resonating with some of the energies that were going around. Right. But I tried to not listen to or follow anybody. People are like, oh, do you follow this person or that person? I'm like, well, I don't follow anybody because I want to make sure that what I'm saying isn't just regurgitated memory of somebody else's message, because then that's not what
Exactly.
we didn't come here to do. That, like, we're not teachers to read from a book. We're supposed to bring the genuine message. So yeah, sometimes I would rather not know anything and then have the person validate it as it comes out. So it is good to have somebody who knows so that they can
that's my job. That's
can,
what
exactly.
I do.
from someone from like a little pre-investigation even to see and then research and then go in and just send someone just for like a 5-minute walkabout and see just what is the instant thing that comes to that person when they go through the door, and then go back and start your research and then see if that person shows up in the research and then see where you could go from there. So that might be a cool way to
I don't know if my brain would let me handle that. So when we went to Wildwood for the first time, I looked at a whole bunch of places because it was for my birthday and Ryan wasn't telling me where we were going and my brain couldn't handle it. So when I kind of got an inkling of where we were going, it was like 2 days before, I researched and I was like, I hope this is the place because I'm researching it. I can't, that's just me. I don't know. I have that innate wanting to know, right? Like I need to know who these people are, right? And before I walk into their house and be like, I'm here.
But it's worked out so well because, I mean, I'm thinking of Kawartha here. That time Bob showed up and was so distinct. My name is Bob, but Robert was, there's been Roberts or whatever. But your research clearly had Robert in quotations, Bob, Ray. And if you hadn't have done that, he's just a name that came through. But because all of a sudden we identified him, he was like, balls to the wall, here we go. And it was like chaos after that because we gave him his identity back.
Yeah. And then he brought us a relative, a living, breathing relative.
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, you got to have both types, right? If everybody did the same thing, then you wouldn't get too far with it. I'm not a good researcher, that's just not It's not really I'm not, I don't, sometimes I can get into it, but like not enough, I'm not great at retaining that type of factual information. I'll be like, I think I know I read about that, but like, it's going to take me,
Yeah.
give me 25 minutes to find the fact, and I will check that for you, so having that person who can like research and retain the information, and that's a skill I absolutely do not have. So thank you for that person.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Some
it's
things
really
I
good.
retain, some things I don't, but it always comes with me because I write it all down. But yeah, so that's just how I validate. And that, and it's good because like for, psychics and mediums and people with abilities who are able to connect to these energies, when I can help validate something for them, that message is now gone and the next one comes in, right? Like it's not just sitting there with some energy going, I need you to figure this out. Like I'm going to bug you until you figure this out.
Yeah.
It just allows it to clear and the next one comes in, right? So
yeah, and you're becoming more and more open to doing that, right? So then you're receiving the messages more and more. So I found that same thing with mediumship. Like I really just started allowing it more so over the last year, like a lot. And then, it does start to come to you more. And then when you guys all get together as a group in that shared energy of being open to bring in the messages, it's really cool. It's like hyper powering one person energy, right? It's like people think, well, maybe I didn't do anything because I didn't have the messages. It's like, no, you powered the machine that pushed the vibration up to be able to clearly hear, right? Like when we can become more in tune with the frequencies easier, then we can actually hear so much better what they're talking about, right? But when we all get together in a group, it's like an energy booster, right? Everybody plays their role. That's what makes it really cool, right? As a group, like the more you all work together too, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Now, for our listeners and our viewers, like, is there a way that they can get a hold of you? Like, do you have a website? Do you have an email address?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me at wordsofdivinelove@gmail.com. That's my email. I had a website going, but I don't know. I'm not good with technology and I've done something wrong. So, yeah, hopefully I'll get that up and running. But yeah, you can get a hold of me through email.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'll get back to you very quick.
I think Kaz is frozen. Yep, she frozen.
Yeah, she's been gone for a bit.
Yeah, she is. This is usually what happens. Oh my gosh, she'll all of a sudden pop back up and we'll be like, done. So, but all right. She hasn't messaged me, so she's frozen. But anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to end this because she's gone. Oh, poor Kaz. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you, Sarah, for coming on with us tonight.
Yeah,
and
so much for having me.
We will definitely have you out with the Paranormal Seekers soon to do an investigation. We just got to figure out the best one for you.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. I'm definitely interested in coming out. I think it would be so cool to work with you guys and join forces.
Yeah, it's always fun. And we're not like the typical group that goes, we're serious, but we know how to have fun. And if you're too serious, you're going to miss it all. So,
right. You got to have fun.
Yeah.
So,
but thank you again. I'm going to say thank you from me and Kaz because Kaz is gone.
No, thank you for having
me. Yeah, she frozen. But anyways, thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, I will have that email address written in our notes for you guys. And yeah, we will go from there. So thank you again and have a great evening, everybody. Bye-bye.